Hello, everyone.
Hi, Stella.
Hello to all our members. We have 11 participants already. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Put in the chat box that I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. We want to hear you. We want to see your typing, that you're here and that you're ready. Welcome to let me just put our new normal. Woohoo! I see Dercilia, Carol is here. We see Mauro is here. Wow, amazing. We see Benedito is here. Yes, guys, welcome. So I see everyone is coming in and typing in. So welcome to our first webinar, PRI webinar. I'm just gonna do this instead of doing claps. So welcome, guys. So welcome to all our participants. Thank you for sparing your time to be here with us. It's gonna be an action-packed hour. And the theme is new normal, rediscovering creativity from PRI to the world. This is really an opportunity for us to engage together, get together, and talk about our experiences in our different PRI offices. We have offices in Mozambique. We have offices in South Africa, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Angola. Wow, guys. We are growing. The families just keeps on growing. So even on that, I'm not going to take a lot of time introducing. I'm going to introduce my guests, my power-packed panelists for this afternoon. We have Emma Harvey. She is our media and recruitment consultant from Zambia. Woo. We have Tinashe Madima from our Zimbabwe office representing, and we have Tel from South Africa office, and then you have me. My name is Stella, and I'll be representing Mozambique and Angola. Yes, guys. So without further ado, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping rules. Please use the chat. If you want to comment something amazing here, say, "Oh, I'm here from Zambia," as we see Wiza did, or "Wow, what an interesting point you have there," or yes, use it to comment and all of that. And then if you have any questions, please use our questions bar there at the bottom. Any questions that you guys might have for our host and even on the webinar. And then I'll just keep on coming as we're talking about it. So I think we lost Tinashe, but we're gonna get right into it, okay? So guys, we're living in a new normal, as that has been said. So I just wanna talk and just get a feeling from you guys, Emma and Tal. How has it been the experience, specifically into your countries? How has your country adapted? Just a little brief socioeconomic view of how has it been?
Yeah, hello guys, hello team, hello. Yeah, it's been interesting for South Africa. I would say out of all of us down the bottom here of the continent, I think we've been the hardest hit. To give you guys a little bit of context into what's happening in South Africa. So far since March, since our hard level 5 lockdown, we've lost 3.6 million jobs. It's about 18% increase in our unemployment just over the lockdown period. The hardest hit industry was manual labor and persons without tertiary education. I'm pulling these reports from Ernst Young, PwC, and a couple of other houses, and they've indicated that up to 10% of the people who have lost these jobs actually have a tertiary qualification, which is quite interesting because it really does mean that the bottom half of the country is really struggling. So what did we do as an office to tackle this? Obviously, we do recruitment, so we're hugely affected by that. It's quite interesting because we don't necessarily have a lot of local clients. We'd already been working remotely, which was quite nice for South Africa. We were able to assure our existing customers that we can still operate at a high level. I think they found comfort in that too. We were able to set up their meetings, set up their interviews, and pretty much carry on as a new normal without making it seem as such. It was a nice transition for some of our clients. Other things we were able to do, we were able to take our internet and put it on, take our landlines and create an internet phone. So our office could essentially operate remotely from anywhere at any time. And that being phone calls, emails, you name it. So that was quite a nice solution for our office. And then we made use of Teams quite a lot to do stand-up meetings. So a stand-up meeting is a quick 2-minute to 10-minute meeting in the morning. This is what you got to do. This is how we get our ducks in a row. And that was quite nice for our office. I think it really allowed us to not get lost and to wander around. And it created a lot of productivity for us. So I would say the big thing that we've done, which is kind of paying dividends now that things are opening up, is we built our own talent pool. So we were running dummy adverts for the industry. Like we said, there 55% of the manual labor is out of
Yeah.
work. So we ran dummy adverts to encourage these guys to send their CVs. And now that the market's opening up, we're able to just send people that we've already interviewed, PRI'd their CVs, made everything look fancy, and within 40 minutes of a client asking for work, they were able to receive candidates. So I think that's something that's really paid nice dividends for our office. In terms of gender, yeah,
Tell, can I ask on something on that? I think it's an interesting point that you're raising. It's the whole part of now technology is playing a big part on it. I just want to get an experience. Perhaps Emma and Tinashe can say about this. Have you guys had to kind of train your candidates to use technology? So, for example, if it's Zoom, right, or if it's the interview is via Zoom, or if it's via Microsoft Teams, did you guys had to like literally sit down or like call them and say, please input ID number this, or do this to get in? Because, for example, my experience at least, I've found that like I've had to sit with candidates and really over the phone, but like really explain how to use a certain platform, how they have to download. So did you guys have the same experience, Tinashe and Emma?
Wow. Emma, do you want to try that?
Hi.
Yes, you can go ahead, Tinashe. Okay.
Sorry, my sound is not that great, so I apologize if I'm a bit slow. It sort of sounds like everybody's in an echo cavern. So yeah, I mean, I think for us, and Tel will like to say this to me as well, is that Zambia is probably one of the countries that hasn't had a very hectic lockdown. In fact, a lot of what we've been given is sort of guidelines, I guess, for how to continue operating. Most essential workers, non-essential workers rather, have been given permission to go home or to work from home, or they've sort of worked on a schedule of shifts. So there's been quite a few sort of interesting things from that perspective. But yeah, we've definitely had a few sort of incidences with Zoom and Skype and that. But also that's not new to us in Zambia in particular, because our client is actually really spread out across the country. And it's a real mission to get up and down. We don't have great public transport systems. So actually Skype and Zoom and things like that are not a completely new thing to our office. So it's been a relatively easy transaction in that perspective.
Yeah. And Tinashe, so have you experienced on that part of technology did you experience that you have to train your candidates on that sort? Or were they experienced, they knew what to do it, they went in, no problems, no internet connection problems? How was it?
I think, like I mentioned earlier, that most of the general work culture has been around people not wanting to use technology. I've got an echo, so you're going to have to forgive me. And once you've looked at what technology the people have used, you'll notice that a lot of people have chosen not to use the usual technology. And this is because we are not used to dealing with platforms like Zoom, Microsoft Teams. I think Skype is better and WhatsApp, but people are not used to it. So sometimes you have to talk to not just the candidates and people you want to meet with, but also the clients. But yeah, it's been an interesting experience. And like I mentioned, that some people have been using Teams for an odd 30, 40 months before this came. So people were quite accustomed to it. People knew how to use it, depending on the extent that the organization was adept to technology.
Yeah, that's true. And I want to go to you, Emma, now. I understand that you have been going through a whole rebranding phase for PRI, even including the image and our business cards and our proposal, our interview setup. So can you please tell me why why I find this now it's more relevant more than ever, that social media and even the way the company presents itself now, it's so important.
Sure. So first of all, let me start this conversation by saying thank you to everybody for being so patient with me while we've been going through the rebrand. It's been a very interesting experience for me, and I feel really lucky that I was the one sort of doing some of the work, because it also meant that I actually got a personal interaction with almost everybody in the office. So I know everybody's names now, which is great, and I know which office you belong to. So that's been a really enjoyable thing. So the rebranding came as sort of a push from the management to celebrate the fact that PRI is 10 this year. We're 10 years old, sort of officially. I know we have different start dates in different offices, but PRI International in general was started in 2010, so we're celebrating 10 years. I hope everybody knew that. We're going to be sort of, yay! We're going to be a more aggressive sort of campaign. We're going to be doing a little bit more sort of talking. That's also why, for example, we started the PRI and I campaign on social media, because we wanted to make sure that our clients, our candidates, our family, and our friends knew that at heart, PRI is about people, and we're people focused. So that was sort of part of it, and I think it was also about the fact that the team is growing. You know, we're expanding into Angola, which is fantastic, and I know there's been lots of conversations about where else we're going. And the idea is to make sure that our image is strong as a foundation to take it forward. From a social media perspective as well, that was mostly me pushing, and I even got to redo James's profile. That was so much fun. You just wait for everything, James. That's going to be great. So yeah, we wanted to get to the point where, from a digital footprint point, we were aligned not only for our clients and our candidates, but also to make sure that people that work with us knew that we were a connected company, we're a professional company, we take care of ourselves, of our online footprint. So that was a massive sort of motivation for us, and to try and get to the point where PRI is a recognizable brand and also an employer of choice. You know, we want to get to this, people know exactly who you are when you say, hi, this is Emma calling from Precision Recruitment International, PRI. People actually, you know, appreciate that name and view us as a company of quality. So that was the whole sort of push behind the rebranding. I won't lie, it's been very interesting for me personally, and I know for a lot of the management as well. There's been a lot of back and forth, but we're sort of very nearly at the end, and there's a lot more exciting things to come.
Can I add to what Emma said there? In terms of that work, I can really see the fruits of Emma's labor in our office. So I don't know how aware everyone at PRI is, but LinkedIn was recently voted the most credible social media platform. So that tells us that there's good news. There isn't people talking rubbish on there. People are genuinely on there to connect with trustworthy people. And I think Emma's sprucing up of the branding, and especially the LinkedIn, has created a lot of trust with candidates, and it's also made it easier for guys like myself and Graham to reach out to new clients. Suddenly, you know, we're not making a cold call, reading off a script, or, you know, trying to sell something that people can't see. It's actually there in their face. They can see a picture of Graham and I, a great bio of the business, and it's almost selling itself and basically making it such that we just need to create a connection and off we go. So I would say, yeah, that's linking nicely into the new use of technology and everything as well. So thank you for that, Emma.
Yeah, and I would just also like to just add to Tel's point, just so everybody knows, on the LinkedIn page, we're up to, I think we're nearing 16,000 people, followers. It would be great as well if the rest of the team, I know that sort of generally speaking in PRI, I don't know how into social media we all are as in person, personally, but obviously I'm super keen for everybody to go onto those pages, make comments, share the content as well. Like, that's also really important. If you share the content on your own pages, you know, that's really helpful for me, and it also means that our reach for every single person that you have on your, if you have 200-300 people, you know, following you personally, if you share our link onto that page, it's an extra 200 or 300 people each that see our content. So I would be very grateful for that. But we're doing really well on the LinkedIn front, and we gain, I think we sort of gain 700 plus every couple of weeks, which is great for us. So thanks. And also, yeah, obviously to the team, if anybody needs any help with their LinkedIn profiles or with using LinkedIn in general, I'm very happy to help. So I'm available all the time.
I think we've lost Stella. Did we lose her?
Stella
Yeah, so I think we should carry on with Tinashe. So maybe Tinashe, do you want to throw a bit of the Zim context at us and what you guys have done to be productive through this period? Yes. Mm. 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 And Tinashe, is it affecting the interview process for you guys? As Emma and I have said, for South Africa, we were already conducting interviews like that because that was just the nature of the beast. What's it like for you guys in Zim? Obviously very face-to-face, trust building. Mm. I love that you use the term coach there. It's definitely the operative word. Yes,
Thank you. Sorry, technical problems.
we're just discussing the interview process in Zim and how the guys that side have handled it.
Yes, you can continue, Tinashe.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, it sounds like there's two camps. There's people that are comfortable living the way they are now. And like you say, there's guys who want to get on with it and go to that interview. They want to find that business, make the connection, and start adding value. I had a chat today with a client about, he was worried about the age of a candidate. And I said, look, you know, the age is obviously a factor, but in such a crisis time, I think these chaps are still going to be hungry and want to work. You know, there's nothing that says they won't. They're not sitting comfortable at home either. And I think that's the situation for a lot of people, is they do want to get out and work and add that value to their company.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I was going to say something on that.
And just to let it a little bit touching on that, and it's all about now looking in terms of looking and adapting, right? Because it's changing. The world is changing. Even here in Mozambique, we have the situation up north, and that's where the oil and gas companies are now. And there's a lot of jobs coming in. There's a lot of investments coming in. But the problem is the unrest, the civil unrest is putting people like at ease, like, ooh, I don't know about it. But you find those ones that are eager to go, you know, but it's something that we are willing to work with people. That's something that we always talk with our candidates. We always have those talks, you know, in order to assure them that, okay, there's always a plan, you know, and people, as I said, it's COVID, people are losing a lot of jobs, but they're willing to go if it's going to the extra mile. And even for us, it was during this, I feel like leaders are defined in times of crisis, right? For us, it was a leap of faith, you know, with our Angola office, you know. It was a leap of faith. During COVID, opening new office, we have amazing partnership. We have Paulo Becker, which is a country manager at Angola, doing an amazing jobs, and even starting to get contracts on that. You see, companies are willing, you know. It's just that extra nudge, as Tinashe and Tali, you guys have been saying, with customers, making them visible, as also Emma said, is that extra nudge. And companies are willing, and they will go, and they will hire. So it's an amazing time that we are living in. And if companies in general, and even us as we're doing, don't see this window of opportunity, we might miss it, because people remember who was there during the time of crisis, you know. And when our clients they know, like, PRI was there, you know, was there from the beginning.
And I think on that point is it's so easy to think about the negative things. 3.6 million people lost their job. You know, Mozambique has got their problems up north, but there are actually these positive stories in between all these ugly points. And that's the stuff I think that PRI has been really good at. I mean, I use the example of our stand-up meetings. You know, on a daily basis, we're sitting with Al, we're talking about our day, how we're coping with things, how we're growing, how we're getting a new client. And we are able to find these silver linings and to take them up a step. I agree. It's nice to see it from all the offices. It's nice to hear it like this as well.
Yes. And I really want to ask for you guys, because we all have international clients, right, that are not exactly within the company, or if their head offices are somewhere else. How are you guys how was it from the beginning and up until now, dealing with them, right? In terms of business, getting in touch with them. What are some practices that you guys use? Because some companies were like, we're not going to do business right now. Or, you know, we don't feel like, let's see until this crisis goes over, right? So how have you guys managed to keep them abreast, you know, keeping them close to you and, keeping them close and getting in touch with them and also getting business from them? So how's it been, the experience?
Does anyone want to start? I don't mind going first.
Yeah, you can go.
I think the South African office is a great example because pretty much 80% of our work is expats and overseas work. So I could say it's quite a context-based relationship that we have with our clients. So I know certain individuals, what I can and can't say to them, where and when I can meet them, and how to do so. It's the same for Graham, obviously, as the business development manager. I know that him and I have at least 5 of our really good clients as a personal connection on WhatsApp that we actually text as if we were texting each other.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I think that's actually come about because of COVID, because people are kind of at home, still in their pajamas with the top down on the Skype. And, they're actually happy to accept a text because they don't want to be bothered. And I think that's the case, is it's short, sharp. This is what I need. This is how it goes. I actually texted a director of a logistics company today. Hello, sir, sent you 5 TVs. Please let me know when you've checked them. And he sends a thumbs up. And that's that, And we're able to operate like that because we've learned how that client wants to operate. And I think that's what's nice about our office is we've got those personal touches for the countries abroad. And I think that transcends even further to sort of represent our candidates, that they're also on this level of EQ, that they can deal with people in these scenarios.
And Tinashe?
We've lost him.
I think we lost Tinashe. Emma, you there?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, in terms of sort of how we at PRI Zambia have been sort of managing that, I think, we've become very aware that even though there's sort of so a big thing for us is relationships, and I know we had a lot of conversations off this chat about sort of physical presences in offices and people going in and out of an office. For us in the Zambian office in particular, it's very, very, very personal, mostly because Zambia is a very small market, and that's even in the sense of any of the international companies who mostly have a base in South Africa for the most part. And we have a very positive relationship with Tal and the guys in the South African office in terms of sort of swapping contacts and information, swapping CVs, having relatively hilarious conversations most of the time between our offices about what we're doing. So I think, again, as Tal said, like a lot of it is about building a personal relationship. I don't think people appreciate how personal recruitment actually is. We're talking about people's livelihoods. We're talking about the thing that they do 8 hours a day, and we're talking about the people who paid that thing for 8 hours a day. So it's an incredibly personal perspective for us particularly, and in the Zambian office as well. We have a physical presence. We've just moved office. I'm sure I'll send you guys maybe some pictures of the new office. It looks really good.
So we can come visit.
Exactly. And I think in the meantime, we have stuff like this webinar series to not just build our relationships with our clients, but also see how the other offices are doing it. So for us, again, very personal relationships, lots of phone calls, lots of monitoring, lots of chatting. And what we've also been doing, which I know was a discussion point, Zambia's kind of seen a little bit of a wave in terms of the recruitment. There's sort of everything kind of sped up, and then it slowed down, and then it sped up, and then it slowed down. So, it's not really going by the economy, which is not a new thing for us really. So that's been really interesting. So what we've been looking at a lot, and I know that this has probably been the case in some of the other offices as well, is we've been looking at how we can diversify. And offer something more than our competitors, because we've got quite a few competitors here, but they mostly focus on recruitment. I would say all of them are recruitment based. So for us, we're also looking at a diversity, and that's another way that we keep connected to our international clients and our local clients as well. We're offering them. We're PRI International. We're an international company, so we try and offer an international service. So, for example, we have been working on pushing out the DISC profiling, which is something we're working very closely with the management in Mozambique about. We've also been doing a lot more proposal writing, which Tinashe mentioned before, and that's for everything from like CV filtration to talent management to job analysis to organizational structure to labor brokering. We've done so many proposals; they're literally like coming out of my ears because I've done all of the branding for them. But I mean, from that perspective, we've also been focusing on changing our model, not changing our model exactly, but diversifying so that our international clients don't just see us as they see us a lot more than that, a one-stop shop. And I think that has been, we've sort of seen the fruits of it, but we're still in very early stages. So it'll be very interesting to see how it progresses over the next while.
Wow, no, that's amazing. That's amazing. Oh, I'm hearing about diversity, and adapting and going beyond. It's all about taking that extra mile, It's not just doing what everyone is doing, but going the extra mile. And that's where people appreciate it. And even that example with what Emma was saying reminds me about the new recruitment method we're testing out here in Maputo and Beira office. So instead of just doing the call and talking with the candidate, and just, the normal, we now wanted to do a whole step themes. You know how they do it in, I'm not sure if you guys have seen the Unilever recruitment process, where they have games, they have different activities before you actually do the interview, right? So we wanted, since this position is more IT-ish, it's more creative, we decided, okay, let's do challenges to see the creativity side of that person. We asked them to do a pitch video to talk about themselves and actually sell themselves. Also, we asked them to do a whole poster, about job description. So it also gets the person engaged and makes them think, okay, this is what I'm gonna do it. And it's a process for them to understand as well, this is what I love to do it, and it's really stepping out of the box and just not do the same thing we've been doing, but also like try other things. And perhaps even in the future, we can suggest it to our clients, there's different methods of recruitment,
Yeah. Well,
yes.
that's exactly it, and the clients are also adapting to it just as much as us, We've had a lot of clients actually ask us for guidance. A lot of the questions, how do we make a contract during COVID? How do we talk about remunerating people? Can you guys help us set that structure up? One of the chaps had never used Skype before, like we were mentioning earlier. We have to coach the client to get him up to speed with the process too, and we can't be seen to be falling behind. So yeah, it's really good to know that we're all up to date.
Yes. And Tinashe, I want to get from you, I think we didn't get your answer in terms of international clients. How are you dealing with, especially keeping up to them and getting in touch with them in order also doing business with them during COVID? Because sometimes people are retracted, companies may be retracted to do that. So how do you convince them to go that extra mile? And also in terms of outsourcing, has there been more demand for outsourcing? Because now companies don't have to be, attached, so on their payroll. So now they can transfer it to us. So can you please talk more about that and how has that been?
Well, on the issue of international companies, is one thing that I've tried to do, or that we've tried to do here and in Zambia, which is subscribing to a website that gives out tenders. I think we've already put in bids for almost 6 tenders, one which we got a bit late, but was very good for us as well. So number one, that's just trying to change the way we talk to these people, because a lot of people are doing business both in recruitment and in organizational development work, and it's just the different ways that they need, or little nudge that they need for people to then engage us. But Zimbabwe generally has not been an international, has worked on a number of international positions, but I think it's been through Zambia, through South Africa, and some through Mozambique. So that's been working quite well. And I think there's opportunities to engage, but at the end of the day, there's also quite a bit of work locally that has been happening. But on outsourcing, traditionally, you would expect that people, once hit by a process like this, would then want to shift towards an outsourcing arrangement. But there's this apathy towards shifting control. I had this discussion with an HR manager that he managed 240, 250 people. But if you then downsize the organization and he's only required to manage 7, the question then becomes, is his job necessary? So you're marketing a process to somebody who, at the end of the day, might be affected by the downsize, because at the end of the day, if you've got 70% less staff, you need a less qualified HR person, from a manager to an officer, which then creates a redundancy. So again, there has been an upsurge in the number of inquiries, but you always lose traction on the number of actual assignments converted because of that fear that exists in the system. And again, we need to get more information out there on what it is and what it is not. Because at the end of the day, if you sell it to someone and you're selling redundancy in their job, they're going to tell you that I'm not going to deal with this because you're going to leave me out of a job. So yeah, it's been interesting. But I think more upticking economies like South Africa, I think to a certain extent Zambia and a few other Southern African countries have a huge demand for these services. It just needs for people to identify the opportunities, package it right, and put it across in such a way that you actually win the assignment, as opposed to losing it at the stage of bidding.
No, that's true. That's true. Thank you so much. And it really will become a question of creativity, as we've been talking about, right? It's how we package, it's how we say it, it's how we present it. And I just want to hear, even as we're almost, I don't want to take an hour, but I want to get it from you guys. Just a little pointers in terms of what you guys think specifically in Africa. What are some of the trends that we will start to see it by the end of this year or even next year in terms of be it in recruitment and HR, just some of the things that you think is going to become essential?
Well, I think looking at the shifts that are happening, number one, the skill set of anyone in leadership, management, or in a semi or skilled job has shifted drastically. Where you were not required to be able to engage online or manage online interaction, now you need to do that, number one. Number two, space. A lot of people are starting to ask the question why they need huge offices. For example, if you're running an organization for 3 months or 6 months without the senior executive coming physically into the office, that automatically means that there's a question of the necessity of the space and also the price of the space. And again, that will have a ripple effect downstream to industries like real estate, industries like food manufacturing, because the type and price of products and services that they have been offering has shifted. Recruitment is another issue and consulting in general is another issue there's another industry that's been hit by a number of changes. I was talking to a colleague who's now the HR director at Lafarge here in Zimbabwe. And they've launched internationally a recruitment application for Lafarge Wholesale. So that also means that the middleman has to create real value to continue to justify their existence. So I think those are the trends that I see.
I don't mind jumping in. I'm seeing a trend towards remote work as well. Obviously, you look at Scandinavia, Australia, all those countries, they've adopted a 4-day work week. In our office, we have to work, call it a half day. We have to leave the office at 3. I know a lot of buildings are doing that. And I think that trend is adding to employee wellness. I know we've all joked a bit in our challenge video about spending more time with family. I mentioned my dogs. Things like that really is making a difference to the employee on an individual level. I think that's a trend that's coming through. I've noticed as well, like there's a lack of, I'd say less professionalism to an extent. People are dressing down a little bit. We're using WhatsApp more, things like that. I think it's becoming a little bit more personal, the business we're doing. And I'd say in South Africa, people are becoming friendlier. I can definitely see that trend. I think because we all realize we're bearing this storm together. So that's something that I've also noticed. And then the other thing I was going to say, just absolutely lost it. Emma, you take over. Give me a second.
Yes, Emma.
There's a speed wobble. It's great. So I mean, in terms of the trends in Zambia, I would say Zambia is one of these places where just Lusaka as the capital city has grown ridiculously in a very, very short period of time. I've just seen a comment that says Neil wants a shirt like mine. Don't worry, it's been a well-rounded comment today. I am going to do some new shirt branding, and then you can harass your country managers to get them for you. Okay, so I will do new branding for shirts. So yeah, I think in Zambia, generally speaking, there's always been a fixation on property development. I cannot even begin to tell you, like even before COVID, how many massive office blocks were being constructed in spaces. I think that even after COVID, even without the remote working, I'm not sure that that's necessarily a dynamic that's going to change here. And I would say it's maybe a little bit of a cultural thing. We're very lucky to be a very united country. And I think as a result, there's a massive emphasis on company culture, even a natural company culture. And so I would find it, I know in the rest of the world, like in Europe, that companies like Google, for example, have said, well, then your staff can just kind of work wherever. The flexibility obviously has been fantastic, and I think that element of it has been something that's been really appreciated in the country in general. But for the most part, I don't necessarily think that our situation from that side is going to change that much. So it's interesting to know that sort of Angola and South Africa and Zambia have got sort of these cultural work that can afford, and teams as well. I think also sizes of teams obviously makes a difference, because if you've got a small office, 5 of you, it makes quite a big difference. And we've seen that as well with our clients, those with slightly bigger organizations. Apart from the mines, where on a lot of the mining sites, they've just literally closed down the mine, and you don't leave and you don't come back, and it's very it's very restricted, and that's kind of how they've been managing, and I'm sure that will ease up as we go. But yeah, from that perspective, I don't see it changing, the dynamic changing that much here.
Yeah. Tal, do you want to finish your point?
Yeah, I recovered
Thanks,
from my fever. Emma enlightened me there. So yeah, the last thing that I wanted to say, which I'm really noticing in South Africa, is again on that personal connection level. So I can say the last 3 job specs that I was able to get actually came from personal references and from people who passed me on to references. So I had placed a candidate, and in doing the references for that candidate, I made a connection with the senior person that was giving the reference, and he was able to actually steer me along a rabbit hole to meeting a whole bunch of new people and actually getting work out of them. And that's, again, a testament to building that personal connection with the candidate and then following it on. So it suddenly wasn't a cold call. It wasn't a cold reach out. It wasn't sending a proposal to someone who didn't know me. People actually had a point of reference. And I'm finding during COVID, people are really enjoying these personal interactions. Did we lose Stella again?
I think so. I think it's just me and you, Tal, entertaining the nation.
I think we're pretty close to concluding anyway. Does anyone have any questions and things like that? I see Stella did post there. Does anyone write anything in the comments about Mauru? I don't know if we can answer that one.
I think
yeah,
what
go.
I was going to say, there's T. So I think what I was maybe just going to conclude to the team in general, I'm sure this was kind of going to be Stella's last point. We had talked about it in our prep sessions. Can everybody still hear me, by the way?
Yep, I'm on. Yep.
Okay, now we've lost Tal.
I'm here.
Oh, great. Okay. So what I was just going to sort of say and conclude was to PRI and the team, thank you so much for participating in our first webinar series. There's a couple of very important things that we need to learn about this. First of all, the 4 of us obviously have been doing quite a bit of work to sort of come up with the right format, come up with the right content to share with everybody. And we would really love the entire PRI's team's feedback. And if you actually enjoyed the content, what we spoke about, if you enjoyed the dynamic, if there's other subjects you would like us to investigate, and if you actually thought that this webinar series is useful for everybody on the team. The whole point of it was to make sure that all the officers were well connected. We knew what the other ones were doing. We were sharing ideas, positivity and creativity. So we would really appreciate everybody's feedback on kind of how it went today. And also, each of us represent a different country. So obviously, please feel free to give us individual feedback as well. And in terms of sort of all the other projects and stuff, the branding, the proposal writing, this is us sort of saying that that there's so much to be done. There's so much we can offer as a PRI team, and I think everybody is open to ideas. So yeah, those were my final comments.
Yeah. Tinashe, do you want to close with
And
anything?
also, thank you to Stella for doing such a good job of putting this together.
We've lost the greatest host ever.
I think, yeah, it's been a learning curve. We have to interact on our phones, our laptops. I'm actually using both right now, so that yeah, it's been an interesting experience. But I think, Emma, like we did with the other newsletter, I don't know what you think, but in conclusion, we can do a quick survey on just a quick feedback survey, get everybody to respond to it, and then we get proper feedback and we just tally it up. And it's been a great experience. I mean, it's hard dealing with some of these online platforms, and the first thing that I'm learning is how to sit still, because you always struggle with that. Yeah. So thanks, guys, for listening to us. And if anybody has anything that they need from general 4D work, even in terms of advice, in terms of legal issues in Zimbabwe, let me know. And thanks, guys, for listening.
Yeah. In my closing, I think just to sum it all up, I think hopefully the whole PRI office can see that 4 individuals representing PRI could come together, make something beautiful, get everyone involved. And we are hoping that this is the start of better interacting between all of the offices. You know, let's work on roles together. Let's share ideas with Emma. Like Tinashe is saying, he's sitting here willing to offer help. Let's ask him questions. Let's get the communication going, and let's stay together and let's be proactive. PRI. Thank you, everyone. Lots of love to the family.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Bye.